All right. Hello, happy people.
I'm happy.
I'm happy too. Cause we just sitting here laughing at our beards in that video.
Right.
We're like, man, we some stand-ins right now.
Right. Look at my face. Yikes.
You know, but such is life. Anything, I love the way Lauren Hill put it. You know, anything that isn't growing or changing is dead.
Well, this isn't growing.
Nah.
No, actually, it is growing back.
So it's still here.
Absolutely.
So, it's your host, Ray Tucker.
And Jay Jones.
And we're here telling you
that we are not ashamed.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that is right.
We are not ashamed
of the gospel, for it is the power of salvation.
Yes.
To the Jew first and then to the Gentile.
Absolutely.
You know. But yeah, we're gonna talk about where we stand on biblical divorce today. You know, so it's kind of a touchy subject, but we're gonna ease into it a little bit, and we're gonna talk about how serious words are to begin with. We're gonna talk about the fact that words are binding. We're gonna talk about how divorce is actually merciful. You know, a lot of people don't think about it from that standpoint, but we're gonna clarify what we mean by that.
All right. Please tune in and listen and be patient.
And we're gonna talk about 3 options that have post divorce, and then or like 3 biblical options post divorce, and then redemption. Right. You know, but if you don't want to hold yourself to the Bible and to the Lordship of Jesus Christ, do what you want to do. Do better.
Go ahead.
You know, we can't hold you accountable above what your own level of submission. Right. So let's go ahead and jump right into it because we got a lot to go over, So Matthew 12:35 through 37. This is a New King James Version. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth what? Good things. And an evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth evil things. But I say to you that every idle word men speak, and that word idle means inactive, like unemployed, right? Lazy, useless, barren, slow. Every idle word they will give account of it in the day of judgment. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Right? Sometimes we think that actions speak louder than words, or actions are more important than words, and a lot of times they are. I mean, you're going to see 2 different things going on in heaven when it comes to Judgment Day. One, you'll be condemned or judged or vindicated by your words, but also, your actions as well. I think they're both synonymous, like they both go together.
Absolutely.
I don't think one is over the other. I think they're both together. They have to line up.
Absolutely, and they go hand in hand. Jesus said, "Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks." So your words indicate what's in your heart. But I have another one. I'm not adding the scripture, but I say, "Out of the abundance of the heart, your body acts."
Yep.
So yeah.
So, moving on from there, we're talking about words of binding. All right. You want to take this one?
Yes. Numbers 30, verse 2. This is the New King James. If a man makes a vow to the Lord or swears an oath to bind himself by some agreement, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. Whew.
Yeah, and that word, and that word vow here means promise to God. So they're not all exactly the same words here. Right. I highlighted some of them just to really emphasize what's really going on here, right? So you got a vow, which is it literally defined as a promise to God. Swear in this case, in this context means it means 7. So the idea is when you make an oath, you say it 7 times, right? At least that's what it was in ancient biblical time. I'm not saying that has to be done now, but that's just what the context is telling us.
Right.
And the oath is something sworn. It's like it's the completion of a vow. So exactly. you write it out or you say it out. You repeat it 7 times, and now it becomes an oath. So it's kind of a build, right? It's a vow. You say it, you swear, and then it becomes an oath.
Absolutely.
Which, and again, binding is to yoke, hitch, fasten. We kind of get the idea of it, and then agreement is obligation and binding vow. So once the oath is completed, it now becomes an agreement, or you can say covenant.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to spell that out some more, like just how words are binding. You know, you say this and then you're bound to it. Right.
Thank you for that, Ram. I like that. If a man make
I'm sorry. That was the repeat of the first verse.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Keep going. When you make a vow to the Lord,
Oh, it's Deuteronomy, by the way.
Oh, we went to Deuteronomy?
Yeah.
Oops.
I'm messing up. Go ahead. You're good.
Deuteronomy 23, 21 through 23. When you make a vow to the Lord your God, you shall not delay to pay it, for the Lord your God will surely require it of you. Surely.
Yeah.
And it would be sin to you. But if you abstain from vowing, it shall not be sin to you. That which has gone from your lips, you shall keep and perform. For you voluntarily vowed to the Lord your God, which you have promised with your mouth.
That's the thing. You know, no one can make you vow anything. You know, like you have to repeat it. At least in this context, you have to repeat it 7 times in order for it to be an oath. Right? So you voluntarily made this vow, therefore now you got to keep it. You know, so basically you put your gun to your own head.
And the consequences can be very serious. Anytime I look at vows, I think about Ananias and Sapphira, where you did not have to say that you were gonna give what you said you were gonna give.
Yeah,
and it cost them their life.
Yes,
it cost them their life.
So Malachi 2:13 through 16. This is the New Living Translation because I like the way they phrase some things, right? So here, this is the Lord talking to Israel, or talking to Israel via Malachi.
Right.
Here is another thing you do. You cover the Lord's altar with tears, weeping and groaning, because he pays no attention to your offerings and doesn't accept them with pleasure. You cry out, "Why doesn't the Lord accept my worship?" I'll tell you why. Because the Lord witnessed the vows you and your wife made when you were young, but you have been unfaithful to her, though she remained your faithful partner, the wife of your marriage vows. Didn't the Lord make you one with your wife in body and spirit? You are his. What does he want? Godly children from your union. So guard your heart, remain loyal to the wife of your youth. For I hate divorce, says the Lord, the God of Israel. To divorce your wife is to overwhelm her with cruelty, said the Lord of heaven's armies. So guard your heart. Do not be unfaithful to your wife. That's some serious charge right there.
Absolutely. It immediately Peter is coming to my mind. 1 Peter chapter 3, where it says, husbands, do not be harsh with your wife. It says, live with her in an understanding way, as a weaker vessel. So even there, it's not going to the extent of divorce, but at the end of that, he says, for the sake of your prayers. Here, their prayers are not being answered. Their offerings are not being heard, because you can say in Peter that you're not being faithful even to the vows that you made, because you vowed to love this woman. And as a believer, we are to love her the way that Christ loved us. And you're not doing that. And so how can you expect for the Lord to hear your prayers if you're not even treating your wife in the right way? And then to go further, here it's talking about divorce, which is what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, even when you think about the father-son model, right? And I mean, I only have one son, but you know, if I had more than one child, I already know that if one child is disrespecting the other child, then the child that's disrespecting is not gonna get any favor.
No.
You know, you ain't getting no ice cream.
No.
You know, you're not getting the Lamborghini I bought for you. You know,
you adopting.
But so yes, same right here. Like, God's not gonna hear your prayers if you're over here being cruel to your wife.
Absolutely. And he's holding you to that standard. You made a vow.
Yeah.
You need to make sure you take care of that vow.
This is you did this. This is your responsibility.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
And then in Matthew 19:3-6, again, New King James Version, the Pharisees also came to him, testing him, and him being Jesus, saying, "Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for just any reason?" And he answered, again, Jesus answered, and said to them, Have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So then they are no longer two, but one flesh.
Here it is.
Therefore, what God has joined together, let not man separate. You know,
Which goes back to Malachi. You overwhelm her with cruelty in the divorce.
yeah,
It's a bloody scene.
You know, I've read through the Bible at least cover to cover at least twice. You know, and I don't until we started studying this, I don't remember seeing that like in such like bold. Like to like I've read it, but I don't think I received it until we started this study.
Right.
Right. So it's like wow, like that was there the whole time. Like wow.
Right.
You know.
And I think this end point here, therefore what God has joined together, let no man separate, reinforces the Malachi that God hates divorce.
Yes.
You've been joined together through your vow. I hate the divorce.
Yep. So moving on, let's talk about how divorce is merciful. I know people are trying to think like, how is divorce what? But so let's show you. So again, Matthew 19 verse 7 through 9.
The New
King James Version. You want to take it?
Yeah, I got you. They said to him, why then did Moses command to give a certificate of divorce and to put her away? He said to them, being Jesus, Moses, because of your hardness of heart, permitted you to divorce your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife.
Now, interrupt you real fast. So I got the brackets here, right? That's because there's an exception clause, right? And the reason why I took that out, just for now, we're gonna talk about that later in the episode. But I took that out because you need to read it in its entirety without the exception clause first, so you get a proper understanding what's going on. But go ahead.
But from the beginning, it was not so. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery, and whoever marries her who is divorced commits adultery.
Yeah, but you see that though, like how it reads when you take out the exception clause, because the exception clause is basically in this one, except in this one scenario, you know, everything else. Sometimes you got to read that, like, what is the meat of the text first, and then you go back and include, okay, what about this one clause here, this one scenario? So you better read that way. So what Jesus is doing here is he's granting us mercy for our weakness, right? When we hear the phrase hardened heart, most often we think of, you know, stone or some other dense material, but we really should think of a hardened heart as more like a dried out piece of bread or that is stale and brittle. Being in a marriage is not for the faint of heart. I'll tell everyone that off the bat. You know, it's not all roses and fun times. But and Jesus is granting mercy for our weakness, but also issuing a stark warning that although we might have the ability to get a divorce and live separately, our words, that is our oath, are still spiritually binding us together. Therefore, if we marry someone else, then we commit adultery. You know, so this is so Jesus is clarifying the law to us. All right. You know, it's important to note that he never actually outlawed divorce. No. You know, because that would have been a perfect time for him to say, you know, thou shalt not commit divorce.
The 11th commandment.
Yeah. You know, that would have been an easy moment for him to right there say, nope, never get a divorce. You know, that's not what he's saying, though. You know, so that's how we arrive at that conclusion that divorce is merciful. Yes. So yeah, kind of forgot the slide I had here.
Oh,
so yes, that he never actually forbid divorce. But yeah, here's the key thing right here. We already established that the Lord hates divorce, and Jesus clarified the purpose for marriage.
Yes.
All right. This is not an oversight. Right. So we arrive at this conclusion that divorce is a merciful concession for the weak weakness and brittleness of our hearts, right? So Jesus is granting us mercy. And here's the real thing, because we can't keep the commandments. He already showed us that all throughout Israel.
Right.
So if we can't keep the commandments, we can't keep vows that we say for ourselves. Like it's highly unlikely for us to be able to keep a vow.